What's good, everyone? I'm excited to bring to you two of my favorite people in the world, and they're recurring guests. Actually, they're returning guests. We have Jackie Shao, who is a creative entrepreneur. She's also a coach, and I just want to acknowledge you, Jackie, for your consistency. How long have we been? Over a year now, right? We've been meeting every other week. So really appreciate your partnership. And Santa Victorio, so we're doing an episode. So you're a sales professional and you are a coach as well.
And a
And
sales coach, just to confuse things a little bit more.
and a public speaker
And a public
and so much
speaker.
more, and a distinguished international uh,
Human.
Toastmaster,
Oh,
right?
yes, Toastmaster. I
Yeah.
forgot I did that too. I do so many things.
Yes. And I know we met through BNI, which is Business Network International, and excited to have you here. So today we're going to talk about being an ENFP, which is stands for extrovert, intuition, feelings, and perception, right?
Yeah. And can I go a little high level as to
Oh,
what it
yes,
means?
yes. Talk. Yes.
This is what we're great at. And cheers, we're drinking because ENFPs
Cheers.
love to party. Just kidding. All personality types love to party.
Hmm.
So we're talking about ENFP, which is a personality type on the Myers-Briggs scale, which has 16 personality types. And so you get rated on 4 different scales. So you can be introverted versus extroverted. We're extroverted. You can be sensing versus intuitive, which means like details, facts, and like ideas, concepts. We're intuitive. We don't like details and facts. And two other ones.
Facts.
I mean,
Facts.
that's a hashtag fact. And then the two other ones are feelings versus thinking. We like our feelings. And then lastly, perceiving versus judgment. So like perceiving is open-ended, spontaneous. Judgment is like structured and really
Wow.
detail oriented.
You're pretty good at this. Yeah, that
I'm
was really
obsessed.
well said. I feel like you definitely have. I'm curious, like when you guys read your first ENFP, like did it really call to you? Did it speak to you?
I'm trying to think back, but definitely. I remember the feeling of like, oh my God, I'm actually one of 16 personalities. Like I'm not that special. Was my first reaction. But as I was reading into it, like I thought it was really funny about the fascinating thing about personality tests is that like it's also how you can relate to somebody else, right? And
Yeah.
as I was saying, even before we started this, I'm kind of in a lower modality today, kind of in a low mood, and but at the same time, I know having another ENFP, Santa, on this call, like we can definitely pump each other up. So it's really funny, depending on who you're interacting with, that that personality really like shows up and yeah, conquers almost, right?
Oh yeah, our personality takes up a lot of space. Let's just say that. Well,
Fair.
well, speaking of which, do you think, I'm sorry, I keep wanting to take it high level for like people who aren't as obsessive as me, because I'm like super obsessive and I want to make sure people who aren't obsessed, they know what we're talking about before we go into the
Yeah.
nitty gritty. So like, how would you describe an ENFP in your eyes? Like, what do you think an ENFP is?
You want to go first, Jackie?
That's almost a trick question, right? I think you described it really well when you did the breakdown. It's very much a personality that is much more on the feeling, intuitive side, high energy, loves being around other people, and actually takes that energy and is more inspired by it than anything. Um,
Hmm.
and can I think the name that of an ENFP is campaigner, right? That's like
Oh
the
yeah.
other name of it, and that fully describes who I believe I am at some
Mm.
points, right? Like when it depends on like the situation, but a lot of times, like I'm the one who is like coming up with the new ideas and wanting to go forth with this new idea with a lot of energy and everything, and a lot
Yeah.
of excitement too. So that's how I see it. Davidson, I don't know if you know so much about us, but
Well, you know, it's funny. This is a perfect story of an ENFP like talking with another ENFP. When Jackie reached out to me to talk about the program AC, like before she did the program, I think we were on the phone for like 2 hours, right? And we were just like, it was just crazy. We were just vibing off of each other. But yeah, really well said. I think yeah, ENFPs are really good at like having fun and bringing people together. So building communities, connecting the dots, and connecting people together. And you know, we're exciting people. I think one of the misperceptions is that people think that we're not like philosophical, but I think we can get deep as well, and we can get and I think sometimes because we're giving so much of our energy, we can burn out as well. So I think I'm sure we'll get into it, but self-care, I think it's huge for ENFPs.
Heck yeah, I totally agree. Everything that you both said, exactly. And I also have a tendency every time I talk with Jackie, like I'll call Jackie and I'll be like, hey, Jackie, I just need some social connection for like 5 minutes. Next thing you know, we've been on the phone for 4 hours. We've talked about everything from like social activism to coaching to business and just like everything in between. So that's like 1,000%. But if I can add one more thing, like I kind of think we're a golden retriever of social personalities.
Yeah.
And like what I mean by that is that like we love everyone and we get so excited. But I think like, okay, so like we go up to people and we love people and we're like, oh my God, I'm so happy to meet you. Wag, 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 you know, like super excited. And then, you know, like we see another person and we're like, oh, I want to love you. I want to love you. We just like want to love everyone. But the thing is like we're super loyal. Like whoever our person is, you know, we're super loyal, like a German Shepherd. So maybe we're like a German Shepherd, Golden Retriever cross. But I think that's what we totally do. And I think most people love us too. Like most people love Golden Retrievers and German Shepherds. They're very likable breeds. And I think we're very likable personality types. I might be totally biased, but on the whole,
only biased with you, but I agree.
well, you know, it's interesting. I used to think that like ENFPs had trouble committing to relationships, actually. But I think if we're like a fully sourced, like fully functional, like at the core, like when we're in our best selves, like we can be. But I guess I can only speak for myself. When I was a lower ENFP, I definitely, it was hard for me to really commit into a relationship because I was always seeking something better, you know? So
yeah, when there's something missing.
Right.
Because I think that's the thing, when we're like passionate about something, then there is no holding back, which I think is another misconception. Like, I don't know if you had this experience when you were a kid, but like when I was a kid, all my teachers thought I had ADHD because I couldn't focus. And I feel like most ENFPs as kids, their teachers were like, all right, put them on some type of drug. They cannot focus.
Yeah.
And the thing is like, it's not that we can't focus. We just haven't found anything that excites us fully. And like when we do find that thing, we're all in. And it's so true with like relationships. Like when we find that person who can hold all of us and we're like really multifaceted, then we're getting married right away.
I love that. I also do want to add too, I think it's also because we love everything. We have so many different interests and hobbies, and there's so many things that we're interested in and want to know so much about, right? So that it seems sometimes that we can be unfocused, but at the same time I believe that like we're able to focus on many different things to a different standard than other people. But that's my belief.
I think a funny story about this being an ENFP is I remember like I was kind of explaining, someone's like, what is it like to be you, Davidson? And I was like, well, I could be listening on the sales floor, like there'll be like 8 teammates like talking on the phone with others, and I'm like listening to all 8 people at the same time. They're like, that sounds like a superpower. I'm like, really? Because the way I thought it was like the opposite of that, because I'm like trying to focus on the task at hand, but here I am literally listening to like all the conversations around me. So I don't know. It's like a curse and a blessing.
I totally have that too. I also work in sales, and sometimes I'm on the sales floor and I'm like talking to my clients, and then obviously before COVID, and I'm like, I need to go into another room because I'm listening to the dude who's like 20 feet away from me. This is so hard. Speaking of distractions, I don't know if you just heard that buzzard.
Uh, but Jackie, I feel like since you're creative, I feel like you can focus, right? Like, was that just like a skill that you really had to practice, or?
I think that like it depends like what we're all saying, which is if something really interests me, then I can totally focus on it, right? It's
Okay.
really picking amongst all the things that I'm interested in, what is that I'm like most attracted to right now in this instance. And
Yeah.
then when I'm in that, I can be in flow, I'm totally focused and I'm
Mm.
totally, passionate about it. And I'm so excited that I want to share it with everyone around me. Um,
Yeah.
to get other people excited about it. So I do believe that it is possible. It's just, it has to be the thing that you want to focus on in that moment.
Mm. Do you think? I think being ENFP is great for fundraising. Like when I fundraise for my nonprofits, like I'm like a freaking animal. I guess. Do you feel like sometimes like people think like people are afraid of doing that thing, but for you it just comes so naturally. But for others, they're like, I would never be able to do that. Like how you just approach random people and how you can kind of like be able to juggle like talking to like 20 different people in one one event, for instance.
Maybe the word still goes back to passion. I feel like when you're
Mm,
passionate about something, it doesn't even matter that you have to talk to people or do something
mm,
that you've never done before, or you don't even think about those things, right? Like for me, I know for sure that like when I have something on my mind, that is all I can think about, and I want to do everything in my power to make it work. So for someone who's in fundraising and probably has a personality type of an ENFP, I do believe that like they're the ones who are out there and coming up with new ideas and talking to more people, and they probably really enjoy talking to people at the same time,
yeah.
and that gives them more energy as well. So I can see people being really really good at fundraising for sure.
And if I can also add something to that too, I think when we think of personality types, it's different strokes for different folks, meaning
Mm,
like personality types who might be very different from us might look at fundraising or something that's very like social oriented or vision oriented, where you have to galvanize folks, which is what our strength is. And they might say, oh, heck no, tech, no, I would never do anything like that. But
yeah.
people who have different personality types from us, we look at what they would do and they're absolutely thriving in that function.
Yeah.
And we would be like, I'd rather jive than do it. It'd be like data entry,
Yes. Oh
administrative
my
stuff.
god.
Like, okay, if it's a function of the job, like, very small sliver and I get to talk to human beings, like, yeah, I'll get it
Yeah.
done. But if it's the only thing I do all day, every day, no way, Jose. We're not doing that. Like,
So true. Yeah, anything with Excel or like data, like when I had data entry jobs like earlier on in my career, it was the death of me. Like I literally, I think I got up and drank water every 10 minutes. Like
I can relate so much.
Same. It's making me think back, way back when I used to work in offices as a graphic designer and everything, and I would get up to just go to the kitchen to grab water or snacks, and I would just like stand in the kitchen and talk to people all day, every day. I get my work done, but at the same
yeah.
time, like that was like my favorite place to be because I knew people were coming in and out, and that I would get to talk to new and interesting people.
Hmm.
Exactly.
I'm curious, like you mentioned ADHD, so I guess I'm diagnosed with ADHD technically. Do you think it's just that our education system doesn't have like a more interactive, like a more like modern way of dealing, like, or I guess supporting people who are more like hands-on or more interactive, you think?
I do think this, and I have a very personal opinion, and I want to preface this by saying this personal opinion is not endorsed by any company that I am related to. Uh, so let me first say that.
Touche, touche.
But I think my personal opinion is that our education system has not changed since the Industrial Revolution. And yeah, it made sense to have this non immersive, non interactive environment with one instructor to 30 people back then. But we move so much quicker now. We have
Mm,
technology, which is helping us think quicker. So we're just not being stimulated enough.
yeah.
Um, but like to the first question, I'm like, do we have ADHD because we're an ENFP, or are we an ENFP because we have ADHD? That's the real question that I'm interested in.
Mic drop.
Right now, I'm like, my mind is kind of blown because I never thought of myself as having ADHD. So relating the personality type to that, I'm like, that's really interesting. There is this like unfocused quality sometimes with it. So, and this jumping around and like the golden retriever energy, right? And that is really interesting. So maybe some people are misdiagnosed. It's just a personality thing.
Well, I think you both would appreciate this. So I read a book called The Edison Gene, and basically it's like the ADHD gene. But the reason I think I was like, it totally related with me because I'm like, whoa, I can come up with ideas like and execute on them like so easily. And I was like, oh, if we were able to reframe it instead of calling everyone ADHD and calling it like a disorder, but it's like, no, you have this gift of idea generation and creativity, and you have the ability to, just go after whatever and just take, I think if we were to relate to children like in that positive way, they would feel like, wow, this is a superpower, instead of like, oh man, like I suck.
I totally agree. I used to work with school-age children, and I completely empathized with all the children who had ADHD because I was like, yes, I was in the same shoes. And they loved me because I've just listened to them talk about like 1,000 different topics within 10 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, that's really interesting. And I'm following where you're going. And I just think it's such a shame because those children are so intelligent. Like the fact that they can make such quick connections. And I know there's like two main types of thinking. There's like lateral thinking and then vertical thinking. I don't know, whatever. There's up and down, there's side to side thinking and up and down thinking. And if you ask a psychologist, most psychologists say like lateral thinking is less work for the brain. Therefore, you're less intelligent to do that, which I think is absolute bullcrap. I think it is so amazing that children with ADHD and ENFPs can make such quick connections. And how that plays out in this world is that we're super connectors between people, like we're great matchmakers. In addition to that, like we understand so many different type of people, and we can hold so much space, and we can actually see things from different angles because our mind has gone there. And we can talk about most topics, and we can carry all conversations. Like you'll never have dead air with an ENFP. So if I'm going to drop a mic, I'm going to drop it now and say that it is a superpower to have ADHD.
Love it. Yeah, there's so much you just said there, right? I think it is cool because I think we can, like, we're the life of the party, right? Like if you invite an ENFP to a party, you don't have to worry about, like, we can take over as a host. And like I'm sure like when I used to host the happy hours, like it was so natural, like for me, like this is fun, but for people, they're like, I don't know how you probably hear this a lot, both of you, like, oh, I don't know how you do that. Like I don't know how you have the energy to do that.
It gives us energy.
It does. It's just so much fun to connect people and connect with people. I can imagine, you're right. Many times I've taken over as the host of a party because I just want to have fun, and I believe everyone should have fun around me. So it is funny. I can imagine the times I was at like networking events, and I just like bounce around the room, just meeting people and just having a really, really great time, while other people are just like standing in the corner and just like staring at me like, and stuff. Yeah. But it's true. We can pretty much talk to anybody about anything. And going back to Santa's point about like those connections and being able to make connections quickly in the mind. Yeah, I think even with conversation, right, we can talk about one thing and it can lead to another thing. And it could be about the past, present, future, all of it. Any topic can be related if we think about it long enough. Yeah.
And do you feel like sometimes it can also be a distraction? Like
yes. The example that comes to mind is I used to work at a co-working space, and I love going in and just talking to people, but sometimes it could be distracting from my work because I would rather talk to people all day than actually do the work. So 100% it could be a distraction.
So so do you guys have like really good structure around like calendar management where you schedule everything so that you, because I find sometimes like I'll schedule it in, but I'm like I would rather do this thing. Something I'm actually passionate about. So
It's a flexible structure for me. Like
yeah.
it's always a structure because in some cases I really do need the structure, right? So to be able to get things done and to be able to get things that are important for me done, really, right? And then at the same time, it's not so rigid to the point that like I don't allow myself a break here or to do something else in that time period or switch it with something else.
If I can add one thing, I think is another trait of our personality is that we're so idealistic. And so sometimes I schedule my calendar being so idealistic. I'm like, okay, this task is only going to take me 10 minutes, and then I'm going to have the energy to do this task, and then that task, and that task. And then, like, I look at my calendar and I'm like, wow, there is no room to breathe because
Yeah.
I scheduled it in like that idealistic mindset. So I have a love-hate relationship with my calendar. It's so bad, so bad.
I started this thing where it's just like focus on one thing a day. If you don't
Mm.
get anything else done today, Jackie, you do this one thing. Because, like you said, idealism is the word in many
Yeah.
ways, right? But with time, especially, it's like, oh, I can get this done for sure within an hour,
Mm.
And I
even
won't
though
get
it takes 8
distracted.
hours to do.
Exactly. It took 8 hours because we got distracted and because we like decided we wanted to talk to people. Oh, we got another business idea in between and we're like, oh, let's follow through on that instead.
Let's see where that takes us.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, it's like it's interesting because like it's such a blessing sometimes, right? Because like you'll have fun and like you're good at like spur of the moment like spontaneity. I think some people they go on vacations they have to plan like everything, but for us like we can thrive in an environment where like just put us in a new country and we'll explore, right? Where some people like the thought of that like will be scary for them. They're like no, like we need to plan out ahead what to do.
1,000%. And I think the reverse happens for us. Like if things are too planned out and it
Yeah.
wasn't planned out from us, the idealists who made it, we can do it. But oh, if it's told to us by someone else, because I think that's another thing about a person. I've obviously read about this. I'm so obsessed because I think that like we're literally the best one. And so I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Everyone is the best. I really love our type, and I love all of the
Totally
types.
do not believe what you just said.
Yes, it's so true. And then I'm a Leo. Wait, is anyone else a Leo? Because that also okay. 'Cause when you read like the Leo traits, it's also very ENFP as well.
Mm,
So it's like a
I'm a Leo
double.
cusp, so maybe I have a little. I'm wearing a sparkly shirt. Maybe I am a Leo. Oh, but I was just gonna say really quick, another thing that we hate is like authority and being told what
Mm,
to do.
yeah,
So like if someone made a schedule or an itinerary for me, I'd be like, absolutely not. This is not happening.
yeah.
So bad.
Contrarian. Do you both have like contrarian type of like vibes too? I know for me, like I definitely resist a lot of that stuff.
What does contrarian mean?
Like playing devil's advocate all the time.
Oh.
I feel like sometimes I have it within myself. I don't even need another person to be involved for it to come out.
That's deep.
Like, oh, I need to do this thing. Nah, I'm just gonna go play instead.
So, that is a good question. Like, what do you think is one of the most challenging things about being an ENFP? I know we kind of like talked about some of them, but like specifically for you.
I think sometimes it's the execution piece. Executing all the way through
Yeah,
in like a time frame,
seeing it through from top to finish.
top to finish in a specific time frame.
In the
I think
time frame. Yeah,
yeah, I think that can actually be very challenging.
yeah.
You know, I like to say that like I'm an ideas person, so I'll come up with a million ideas of how to do it and everything, and then I'll start some of it. But I think the perfect partnership is to have somebody who I can run these ideas through and process through, so
Yeah.
that they actually become reality versus just ideas that are like somewhat done, you know.
Hmm.
So that could be a challenge at times, definitely.
Yeah.
What about for the two of you?
Yeah, to piggyback off of what you just said, Jackie, I think that's a challenge, and it could also be one of the greatest rewards, depending on the circumstance, because we make great leaders. Like we can oversee a team, we can galvanize them, we can connect them to the vision, but we would be so bored and we would be doing the world a disservice if we actually did the work ourselves. I swear it's not a cop out to sound
Andy, but that sounded so bad.
Yeah, that's hilarious, but so true.
Yeah, it's like, and you know, and this is why there are other types of personalities who would like hate to make the vision, would hate to actually lead people and persuade people and to get them excited. And they would be like, no, just put me in a repetitive task that has continuity and I will kick butt. But that's not us. Like we give them the vision, we give them the fun. So exactly.
The ones who can pump life back into something that like kind of dies down, if we're talking about work, right? Sometimes like if it's a long vision or a long like project and everything, we can be the ones who come in with new ideas and hey, let's do it this way, or like, do you remember like this is why we started off with it in the first place, and this is why we're excited about it, and this is why we're even doing it.
Yeah. I do have a question for both of you. So how many projects and what projects have you abandoned recently? I'll start off. I recently finished my real estate course for the second time and decided not to go through with it. So that's both. And then I also only had like a few classes left in my MBA, and I was like, fuck this, I don't need this. How about you guys?
Oh my god.
I don't even know where to begin. You want to jump in first?
Oh my god. Well, let's just say in the last week, like 5 times. Like, it's so bad. I've like changed my niche like 4 times in the last week. I've changed my focus of my sales book like 10 times in the last week. Oh my god, it's just so bad. And like before I knew I was an ENFP, I was like, oh my god, I'm just so lazy. What is wrong with me? But no, it's just like I get super pumped up. And then, you know, that only lasts a little bit, and then I get bored.
I can even think of just like books in this last month or last month that I did not complete just because I was just like, I'm moving on to the next one.
Had enough.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like the same way with like friends? Like, I don't know about you. I think I'm trying to be better about this, but I have like a lot of friends, but sometimes like I'm really quick to move on to like a different friend. You know, it's like let me learn about this new person that just started this program or whatever. You know, instead of like really doubling down on my existing like friendships. You know,
that's the golden retriever part.
Yeah, totally. Well, but a golden retriever is also very, very loyal, right? So I think it's both, right? New people definitely excite us. New people in our realm is like, oh my god, who are you? Tell me everything about you. Can we be friends and stuff? And then also when it comes to like old friends, you know, knowing someone really, really deeply and knowing someone in a new way is very
yeah.
I don't know about both of you, but I believe we all do this where it's like if we're going to have a conversation with our close friends, it's not going to be about the same thing over and over again. We're never going to like have it just be a surface level kind of conversation. We want to know more things. We want to understand other things. We want to bring more excitement into their lives as well. Whatever is new in our life, we're going to bring into somebody else's life.
Jackie, what you just said made me click, something huge click in my mind, which is that like, yeah, we have both sides. You know, we love meeting new people and we're also very loyal. And when I think about like who I've been loyal with, it's like the people that expand and grow at the same pace as me. Like I've had friends who've expanded a little too quickly, and I'm like, oh, I can't keep up with you. And then I've had friends who like contracted or don't expand, and I'm like, all right, love ya, but peace out, Cub Scout, you know. And we leave. But that totally just clicked for me because what you said.
That dude, you just verbalize that so eloquently. Yeah, because I think you're right. Like, I always feel guilty because I'm like, oh, maybe, but then like you said, maybe they're just not expanding as quickly as I would like, or as I am. So it's harder to relate to some of the if it's like the same things. But maybe that's why we all still are in communication and we're still friends, because like we're all in this work of self development, so we're always growing. That's deep. Yeah.
I also think like with people, any relationship has seasons, right? So like
Yeah.
sometimes like
Yeah.
it's summer, it's fun. This is the person you're seeing all the time. You're also maybe physically in contact with them all the time. So they're in your lives. And then there's some seasons that are much more quiet. It's winter, right? And you don't see them for some time, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they've just completely dropped off out of our lives. It's just we know it's gonna come back around. There's a cycle to it.
So true.
And
Speaking of, oh, sorry, go ahead, David.
oh, no. What were you gonna say?
I'm surprised this is the first time two extroverts have run into each other. Because I was like, this is going to be so hard. Three extroverts, we're going to just crash into each other.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
I know. I'm so proud of us. We should have talking sticks. All right, my turn. But I was going to ask, like, how are you both finding being an extrovert in the pandemic? Like, how does it feel to be an extrovert right now?
It's tough. It's really hard. So I leave my home a couple times a week to go into a studio for ceramics, essentially, and I do it for my own sanity. Like it's the only other place I really go to besides like supermarkets and other things. But I don't really see that many friends during this time, and I have Zoom fatigue as well. So that's been really hard. Never thought I could get Zoom fatigue since I love talking to people all the time, but it has happened. So being able to go somewhere and see new people and also do something completely new and different and learn a new skill set has been really good for my soul. Otherwise, I would say I kind of die a little inside. There was a couple of months where I was like kind of dying inside, where I'm like, okay, self-care time, it's great. Concentrate on the self, concentrate on what's going on in my mind, and place new structures. But really, I think depression kind of set in at the same time. So it's been hard, I would say. And I can't wait. I can't wait to be able to like see people again. I mean, Santa and I, we were just talking about like as soon as we're both vaccinated, we're gonna have picnics in the park and everything. So yeah. What about for you?
Yeah, I'll go really quickly. Yeah, like it's been super tough, right? Like I think I met someone once at a networking event and they're like, I think you might be the most extroverted person I've ever met in my entire life. And I was like, oh, thank you. But I think there's some truth to that, like it's been really challenging for me. And Jackie, seems like you're pretty creative, so I think like you've always been able to kind of give yourself space to be creative. But I think that was like a new muscle for me to flex. And I think the space has provided me like an opportunity to be like, why am I so attached to humans? Like, why can't I just walk by myself with myself and be okay with nothingness and stillness, right? So I really saw it as an opportunity. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I did go through like depression. I was a victim. I made it mean that, my in-laws are trapping me here. And like, I had a story around like, oh, like, they don't, I was blaming others instead of really just taking responsibility and just like owning like, okay, like what's so bad about like me, just myself without others having to validate my worthiness and stuff like that.
Oof, 1,000%. I'm the third person here to say depression for sure. And having that story of like, ooh, life shouldn't be this way. I should be seeing people every single day. And, prior to the pandemic, we did see people every single day. Like the world was built for extroverts. It's an extrovert's world. And all of a sudden it got like flipped upside down, and like seeing people via Zoom is not the same at all. Yeah, we get Zoom fatigue, like you mentioned, Jackie, and it's just like, no, I physically want to be with people. So it's also been very hard for me. And then I also took on the challenge during the pandemic. Davidson, you know this, obviously, and Jackie, you know this, that I took on the challenge to live by myself as an extrovert during the pandemic. So I've had to be very proactive in getting social time, especially working from home, which has felt very lonely as an extrovert. And then also being okay with my own company, which, as you said, Davidson, I never flexed that muscle before. I'm like, wait, what? I think these thoughts, or I do those things, or this is who I am when I don't hang out with other people. But it's kind of been like nice. I know I could have done it, and I will never take social gatherings for granted ever again. I can't wait for the first like party of 50 people. It's going to be the best day of my life, as long as everyone's vaccinated. But yeah, it's just been such a crazy time. I think there's like a meme that says like, check on your extrovert friends. They're not okay. And it's so true. We're not okay. Send help.
Well, it is interesting, right? Because it's our greatest strengths, but it kind of makes you wonder, like, what had it be this way? Like, was it we were born like this, or was it because of certain circumstances, like we need this like simulation or stimulation to kind of like feel whole? It's an interesting topic and concept.
Well, all human beings need bonds with each other. It's just, I guess, how tired do you get from it, right? When I think of an introvert, right, it's like there is a limit of how much time they have with someone else before they have to go home and recharge and just be by themselves, doing whatever it is that they need to do. Like, it's almost the opposite for us. It's like when we're with someone, we're actually charging up. So during this pandemic, it's been very much like depleting versus charging up. And so we have to look for those moments where we can charge up whenever we can. And I think they're both part of human nature. We still need bonds with other people. It's just, how do you get it and how do you react to it, especially afterwards?
Yeah, it's deep. I mean, I've thought about this like myself. Like, do you both think like there were something that has happened in the past that has made you into an ENFP? Because I don't necessarily think I grew up that way, right? I think once I felt comfortable, I became. But at one point, like when I was really young, I was like actually pretty like introverted, and then I think I was trying to like fix that, and I was just in the constant mode of fixing. So everything that I am now, it was basically the opposite of what I used to be when I was like a little child.
Oh, that's so interesting. I think as we age, like we might integrate other traits. Like we all have, the ability to be introverted or sensing or thinking or judging. And like as we get older, and like the literature, aka 16personalities.com, the literature, it says that like when we turn 30, like we start to like better integrate those traits and we can like better flex them. But that's so interesting that as a kid, you were like, all right, I'm swinging to the other side. When you say you were an introvert, do you mean like you were shy, or that you needed to be alone to charge up?
I was voted most reserved, like well, this was like in 5th grade. And then I think, I mean, I do notice like a lot of the stuff I do now, from public speak, like, Toastmasters to hosting happy hours and stuff. And like, being a leader, fundraising and stuff, like was all skills like I've like developed. Like, I think when I was like I think a lot of the stuff that I was like trying to be the opposite, because I felt like I didn't have a lot of friends. So like, I'm like, let me just make a game and try to make as many friends as possible. And that kind of became my story. But I didn't always like grow up. Like when I was younger, I wasn't all of these traits, I don't think. Feelings, probably, I was always a crybaby, but others haven't.
That's not what it means.
I'm still a crybaby. Oh my god.
Although I am a crybaby as well.
Oh my god, for sure. Jackie, we love to cry. It's the reason we joined our coaching program.
Totally.
So that we can
Everything
cry
makes me
openly.
cry. If I'm happy, I cry. If I'm sad, I cry. If I'm angry, I cry.
When I'm numb, I cry. Why am I not
Yeah.
feeling anything? But that's so interesting because I have always wondered that too about like, are you born with the personality like Maybelline? Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline, or is it given to you through your family and your experience? Well, I guess family would cause you to be born with it. Like, is it nature or is it nurture? And I always wonder too because I grew up with an introverted brother. And from day one, and I know that I'm extroverted and my parents are extroverted, and like from the time he could speak, my brother was always at like 8 o'clock. He was like, all right, guys, peace out. I've had enough. I'm going to go to bed now, be by myself, recharge. So sometimes I think like, man, is it like you grow up with this trait, like you know from a very young age? And he's remained that way too. And the thing is, he always grew up reserved, and he's still an introvert where he needs to come back home and like recharge and be alone and be with his own thoughts and feelings. But you know, he can hold a conversation very well. He's not reserved anymore. He's like more outgoing. He can get along with most people. So I think we start to move into each more as we age, but I don't know if it's nature or nurture. There's probably a white paper out there besides 16personalities.com.
Yeah, there's a lot of different personality tests out there, right? I'm sure they're all like trying to, figure this kind of thing out. It's probably a little bit of both, right, for both of us and for all of us. And when I think of it, like as a kid, I would say I was shy, but I definitely loved being around people. And so that has followed me all the way through. Not that I'm very shy these days, but I tend to think, when I was younger, I was like, oh, the shyness is an introverted thing. But that's not necessarily the case. I think it's two separate things that we're talking about.
Yeah, I guess being voted most reserved, like that's not a very ENFP type of thing, So I guess that's why it was just like surprising to. But yeah, it's a deep topic.
Super deep.
Yeah, well, this has been an awesome conversation. I think we should have part two because I feel like there's like so much to talk about, and I think a lot of people will resonate with a lot of what we're saying. A lot of ENFPs.
I have so many more questions, so let's definitely do a part two.
I would love that. And I think I have my personality test somewhere. I saved it somewhere. Now I'm really curious. I'm going to look it all over again and like get really into it. I remember even when I was taking the test years ago, I was so into it that I went and told all of my friends. And I actually took the test as some of my friends so I can see how I related to them.
Yeah.
I got everybody excited. So ENFP all the way through, even for
That's
the
hilarious.
test.
Through and through, you're an ENFP.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I guess
Wait,
like
Davidson, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are you wrapping up because you're getting bored?
No, so my wife is gonna come down to use the Peloton, and I mean, if you guys are okay with me pausing it, and then we can continue upstairs, like
I was just teasing you because you know how we get bored as ENFPs. We're like, all right, the next shiny object.
Yeah, that does happen pretty often, but I think we were kind of joking about this earlier, but episode 116, right? I think like you both have been saying, like if you're passionate about something, like we can make it happen. But yeah, there's 90% of everything else that I'm kind of like, like even trying new dishes, for instance. Like I love trying new restaurants and stuff like that. And a lot of people, they're pretty cool with just eating the same thing every day.
Exactly. We need that novelty.
Yeah.
It's fun. It makes our heads go like, whoa! It's like a party to get there.
And then we get to a point where we burn out because we're like, what's the meaning of life? Jumping from thing to thing to thing.
That's so true.
Yes.
That is a deep, like, what do you, if we were to bring that question back to you, like, what do you think the meaning of life is?
Oh, this is actually such an ENFP question because we love to look at life as like this puzzle that like we're solving always in our mind. And what is the meaning of life? I want to say it's to feel good and to talk to people. But like, actually, I think it's love. And
Mm-hmm.
yesterday, one of the things I thought was like, I shouldn't be a sales coach. I should be a love coach. And we'll see how
Huh.
long that thought stays. I'm gonna give it a little bit more time to germinate. But yeah, I really do think it's love, and not like
Mm-hmm.
romantic love, but love of self, love of life, love of plants, love of Zoom, love of everything. What about you all?
Right. On the side of love, I would say connection.
Mm-hmm.
And being who I am too, probably creativity as well. Like that's the meaning of life. Creativity, connection, love.
Yeah, it ties in because I think if we're self-actualized and we are creative, right? Like if we tap into what makes us passionate and to your point, actually, Santa, I think like the best salespeople are the ones that emit the most love, right? Because like you love your clients, you love your partners, you love your coworkers, everyone else around you, and that love, that energy actually causes you to, ultimately like have more success, right? So in a way, like, I mean, you are a love coach. It's just, I guess if you introduce yourself as that, people might kind of give you a weird look, but you are a love
Love
coach.
coach. Yeah. Deep down. It's all about marketing.
Yeah. But I like what you both said. I think, yeah, connection and love. Like, I think at least for an ENFP, like I find when I'm the happiest is when I'm like building like deep, intimate like friendships. Whether it's my men's group or do accomplishment coaching, or when I'm having these like really like vulnerable conversations and just sharing that with other human beings. Right, it gives me a lot of fulfillment in life.
Heck yeah. It's not money. Money's great. And I want lots of it, but I only want it if I have it with connection and fun and love.
I
Yeah.
agree. And also like I truly believe that money comes when I have those other things.
Mm,
Mm.
Like money is more of an outcome rather than the thing.
love it.
So when I'm feeling connected to other people, connected to my vision of my life and everything, that's when
Yeah.
anything is possible. Anything is possible, and lots of
Hmm.
money as well. So that's like a like, there's
I
no
love
other
it.
way in those moments.
It's
No.
so true. Like when I was more focused on the money, actually, it was like the opposite because I was like relating to it like this far away thing that is like unobtainable. Instead of now, I feel like I'm just more in alignment with like who I want to be and who I know myself to be, and money just kind of just comes like so much more readily available, and it's like weird, right? It's like almost doesn't make any sense, but I think it's just money's just coming because like I think I'm just loving myself more, and ultimately, when that happens, like I feel like it's just like money's just like an expression of who I am, whether it's to my nonprofits or supporting other initiatives, like it's just like an expression of me.
Oh yeah, that what you just said was money.
Oh
Thank you for
man,
sharing that.
that's yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap up. There's nothing else that we could say that will top that ever, so
Oh my god.
well, maybe we could do like a quick round of acknowledgments. I think that's an ENFP thing to do. I don't know about you, but that was my favorite part about accomplishment coaching weekends.
It was most people's least favorite part. Well, we're like, yes, give it to us.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, I'll go. I'll acknowledge. And then seeing people squirm in their seat while you acknowledge them, like there's so much joy in that too.
So much. Oh my god. All
How
right.
do you want to do this? Can I?
Let's acknowledge. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say let's acknowledge Davidson first
Oh,
for holding the space.
Yes. Davidson, I really want to acknowledge you for like having 116 episodes. What? Like
it's
that's
a miracle.
amazing. It's not a miracle. You made it happen. That's your creativity right there. Not only are you doing this podcast, but there's so many other things in the world that you're bringing to people. And I know because I know a lot of times people come to you and ask you for like coaching and ask you for your help and everything. So thank you for being service in the world and for being such a bright light.
Oh, thank you, Jackie.
You're welcome.
Davidson, I would love to acknowledge you for being the textbook ENFP, the one that like everyone loves, like the super social, outgoing, fun, super connector, in a thousand things, super smart, and very heart driven and impactful. Like I just look at you and I always think, how in the world does he do the things that he does? Like he is everywhere and just like, man, a super producer. So thank you for your impact on the world and just for like doing it with a smile and so much love. I'm so proud to share the same personality type as you. Thanks for representing.
Aw, thank you, Santa. You're the best. Sweet. Who wants to go next?
I'll take some. Give me some love.
Yay. Do you want to go first, Santa?
Yes, I was leaning into it. Oh my gosh. Jackie, I don't know where to start with you because I have so much love for you. You are a soul sister, meaning you see everyone's soul and you love everyone and you connect with everyone and you see the best in everyone. And you are such an amazing coach because you hold the space for every single person that comes your way and you treat them with so much love and compassion, which is what every person deserves. So thank you. And you're so creative. Oh my gosh, between ceramics, furniture design, graphic design, coaching, tea, podcasting, like, yes, girl, you do you. Go out there and make your impact. Thank you so much for sharing who you are so openly. It was so much fun to do this with you. Oh my God, let's do it again.
Oh my god, I love it. I love all the love. It's amazing. Yes, Jackie. Oh my god. It's just crazy. I remember like when I saw you at the Summit of Greatness in Columbus, Ohio, and how excited we were to see each other. Like classic ENFP like energy. But yeah, I think what's unique about you, like even being an ENFP, is like you're just so creative, and then you also have the ability to explore like inner, right? So I feel like that's unique, because like you are able to tap into your inner child, like your creativity, and you hold space really well, especially for an ENFP. Like I'm not, I feel like sometimes that's hard for us to kind of like be able to hold space and do it like willingly. Um, but yeah, thank you so much for your friendship and your consistency. That it's crazy that we've been meeting every other week for as long as we have. Like I think that's also rare for an ENFP. So thank you for your commitment to like accountability, fun, friendship, relationship, connection, and the space that you hold for us to be able to like truly clear and complete and get everything out of the space so that we could be our best selves.
Oh, I'm feeling in the middle of like wanting to cry and I can't stop smiling at the same time. Thank you both.
Uh-huh.
Cry, cry, cry.
I will. I will.
Uh-huh.
Or can I acknowledge you, Santa?
Yes, oh my
Yeah.
Uh, Santa, you said the word soul sister. I love that because honestly, you are soul sister. You are someone when I just know if I'm having a bad day, I can go to, and immediately my mood will just change from the first few words that we say to each other. Um, and we're able to have these like really deep conversations about um, different topics and really like boost each other up and get each other really excited. And I feel like with you, ideas are limitless. Like you just have so many of them, and you know, your talent too in the world, your ability to be able to really communicate with someone and have them understand is something I have always admired. And constantly am like, teach me some of that, please, because that is amazing. Um, what else can I say about you? I mean, like, you are pure love too. I really always feel that. like pure love from the moment I ever met you to till now, you know. And one of the other things I really want to acknowledge is your growth through this entire time. The last 2 years has been such a ride, right? There's so many things that have happened, not only in the world, but also to your life. And I just watching you navigate all of it with such ease and grace and beauty, and wits and smarts and brilliance has just been so touching, that I get to be part of that journey with you. So thank you for being part of my life.
Oh my God, Jackie, thank you so much. I have no words, just tears. Thank you.
Aw, I love the love fest.
Wait, this is how we end all of our Zoom calls. Whenever we have Zoom calls, we give each other air.
Aw, that's so sweet. Oh my God. I don't know. Do you guys also love hugs as well? Oh my God, it's life.
Everything.
Yay! I get to acknowledge you, Santa. Oh my God. Okay, I'll try not to cry. Honestly, like you taking over, like our lease, like has meant the world in terms of like just the giving space for me and Sammy to really grow as like it was probably the hardest thing for me to kind of commit to this relationship, and kind of like, I think what's predictable for me is like being in New York City and kind of like not committing and not settling down and kind of just dabbling and basically not making that a priority. So thank you so much for that. Like it's hard to communicate like how much that has given us the space to grow. But beyond that, because that's more about me, but I want to acknowledge you for like the big gigantic heart that you have for everyone that is a part of accomplishment coaching, BNI. You never say anything negative about anyone, and that says a lot about your character. And for coaching, like one of my best friends, like she's doing really well, and it's awesome to see her thrive like with you as her coach. And also like the love that you bring to everything that you do, right? From the doorman, the dry, like your neighbors, like the communities you're a part of. Yeah, like you do it with like ease and grace and just like a natural, like everything is a choice, right? Like nothing ever seems like it's like forced, like it's just easy with you. So, others can feel comfortable to be themselves, and you celebrate people so well. And that's a beautiful thing. So thank you for just being you.
Oh my God, I am gonna cry. Thank you so much for saying that. And can I just comment on the first thing that you said, which is like you were like, thanks for taking over my apartment so that like it helped me and Sammy grow. And I like always, like every day, I'm like, thank you, Davidson, for letting me have your apartment, or not letting, but letting me take over your lease, because like it has just been such a growth spurt for me. And it's just so cool that it was a win-win. Oh my God. Next is a space between me and Jackie. We're gonna get a creative space. We're speaking into existence now.
Yeah, well, soon I'm gonna be working in a co-working space too, so I'll visit you guys a lot.
Oh my God, it's all happening. Oh my God.
We could do this next one in person. That'd be fun.
I'm having a heart attack from happiness. Just the thought of it.
Wait, I was just thinking, oh my God, we should like just post like on all of our socials like who's an ENFP and have like an ENFP hangout, like happy hour. That would be insane.
That would be the rowdiest freaking party.
Oh my God.
We would never go home.
No.
No, but hey, it could be a good opportunity for all of us to get more clients. We can be like the ENFP coaches. That'd be dope.
Let's make this happen. This is the best idea any of us have ever said.
For anyone watching, this is exactly how it goes.
We're like, okay, we're done. Oh wait, shiny object over here.
Yeah, but I'm excited. So yeah, we'll definitely do round 2. It'd be good next time. Maybe we can kind of go read some of the, or we can talk about our favorite ENFP celebrities or people, and then we can kind of like, so we can dig even deeper to like the, maybe one monitor we can have like and then we can kind of go through it and kind of talk about it like in more depth. That'd be cool.
Good idea. You're trying to put too much structure around this, Davidson. I'm not sure I like it.
We'll just get on and talk.
Okay, or we could do that.
No, but that's a good idea.
Well, we can just talk about our favorite ENFPs, like celebrities, and what it looks like to truly tap into that at the highest, like self-actualization and the success of that. I think that'd be interesting.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that instead. Okay. Well, I love you both, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. And yeah, excited for round 2.
Oh my god! Air hugs. Bye.
I don't think I've ever laughed this much in any of my podcast episodes, so that's great.
Oh my god, this is so funny. Oh.
Okay. Oh, actually, another question. Do you guys also have a hard time like hanging up? Are you guys like, oh, you hang up first? No, you hang up first. Like,
oh my goodness, totally.
Literally, this is why Jackie and I are on the phone for 4 hours.
Yeah, we'll tell each other, oh, we have to go eat dinner, or oh, I actually need to use the restroom. Like, okay, let's go use the restroom and come back and talk. Like,
yeah.
Like, let's eat dinner together right now.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, it sounds like Davidson, you actually have to hang up now.
Yeah. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
See you later.